Hello and welcome to Economic Forum, where we discuss various issues affecting our economy. My name is John Masu. In previous years, we had quite a number of prominent black business people who operated different businesses and were almost household names. We know in the transport businesses we had people like Paul Matambanadzo, Farai Zumba, with Tafi Moyo, and many others, Percy Hall, and so forth. And also in the hotel businesses, we had in the past the Mangondozas, with the Zambilas also operating shops in different parts of the southern part of Zimbabwe. And we also had big businesses manufacturing scotch cards, for most of the rural areas, run by people like Skatula, Mashian, and so forth. So those names have been forgotten. Most of those businesses have pegged, and we have new businesses, and we know some names which have performed very well in business, and they've continued to do so. Most of them being family businesses. And this is what we're discussing today with our guest, Dr. Josphat Nyoni. We are discussing family businesses, as I mentioned, all those names which probably you still remember from your growing up.
Yes.
Where are they now?
Thank you so much. All I can say is, initially, that was really good and entrepreneurial in mind. But along the way, I think most businesses did not then adjust to the changing times in terms of the business environment. So they were overtaken by the events, by the situation in the business environment. So technically, the fact that we no longer see them now is a sign that they did not adjust to the demands of the business environment.
While talking about failing to adjust, maybe you can just give us an overview of the characteristics of a family-run business.
Yes, there are key elements of a family business. There's the issue of stewardship, then shared vision, then protection of family values, then the need to sustain relationships within the business setup. So these are some of the key elements that kept traditional business units together.
Yes.
However, when the business environment started to change,
in whatever sector.
Yes. The family business unit that remained stuck to their original traditional business elements failed. There were certain positive elements from their original model which they were supposed to take to the new business environment. And there were certain old elements of their old model which they were supposed to abandon. So the variations were they able to reflect on their own and say, from my original model, I need to take this and drop that. I can give you an example. The element of stewardship. The traditional family business model emphasized the need to protect the original business setup. If you were in the bus transport sector, it was prudent to make sure that all efforts and investment are put in the transport sector. However, the new business environment required a diverse definition of stewardship. Stewardship was no longer about protecting the original. Stewardship in the new business mantra was the need to diversify. So you see, stewardship, you take it into the new business world. However, you modify it.
You're talking about the businesses themselves, that they remained like that, they were protecting that. Isn't there a situation whereby even the beneficiary would say, no, the Nyoni we know is this and not anything else?
Yes.
And you then would abide by that?
Yes. So the new business world still required stewardship, but it also demanded you to diversify because we're now faced with a new set of customers. Even your traditional customers also required a new set of a product. So you was then supposed to diversify your mindset in terms of, are we still dealing with the traditional customer, or we have a traditional customer whose mind has also changed? And we also have new customers who may not require buses. They may now require private taxis. So it was about then reflecting and then say we still have to maintain the principle of stewardship, but it must now be diversified.
Or even diversifying in the sector that you're operating in.
Yes.
Or maybe if you're running buses, and also grade or be in road construction as well, so that your buses do travel on good roads.
Yes, or go along the same value chain of buses.
Yes.
On parts, on fuel, on this, so that you have a complete package. But those that remain stuck in the old or the original business model then were not able to change with the new definition of stewardship.
Yes. Then the shared values that you were talking about. Talk to us about how these old businesses were sharing, their visions with their families in order for the family to continue the business even if they are no longer there, including even making sure that the children are trained to develop new ideas that you're talking about.
Yes, that principle is still relevant. It kept the business, the family unit focused on one. It also generated an element of commitment. It generated an element of trust. So it sustained the business then.
And even diversity in some cases.
Yes.
Although the one bringing it would have to argue it out.
Yes. But we are saying this is still valid even in the current business setup. For a family business to survive now, they need a shared vision with the families. You can't have your own vision alone. The family must know, the children must know, so that they remain committed to protect the vision of the family.
That's Dr. Josphat Nyoni, who is our guest today. We are talking about family-run businesses, and we've given examples of those businesses which thrived in the 50s, 60s, 70s, up to the 80s, but we no longer hear about them. We only hear about the names. And the question is, why did they fold and also become forgotten about? So join us when we continue with Dr. Nyoni in our discussion in the second segment of Economic Forum. We are now in the second segment of Economic Forum, where today we are discussing family-run businesses. We've discussed issues like the characteristics of those businesses and what made them fail when things were changing. And now, discussing this transformation, Dr. Nyoni, how can we now survive, having learned that, sticking to what your grandfather did without modifying, without looking at things differently in a changing world might make you suffer? What then would you advise those who want to continue with family businesses, as we have seen some very successful ones all over the world?
Basically, there are a number of transformations that the current family business units must undertake, and those that aspire to join the trend of family businesses. There are certain key elements that should define their family business model. The first one is to create a resilient family business unit. So those who are currently in the family business sector should focus on elements that will make the family business resilient. Resilient to what? Resilient to current changes, resilient to dynamic changes, resilient to pandemics, resilient to shocks. But how do you achieve that? The current business model should not look for expertise within the family. It is high time that they also outsource certain key skills and incorporate that into their families. E.g., they can set up a family business council a decision-making unit, which may not specifically be made up of family members, but they can have family members and integrate it with the technical skills. Skills to manage risk, skills to focus future trends, and then make adjustments. So that's one.
Why were they on one?
Yes.
What is the difference with actually having members of the family being trained as those technocrats and forming that group that you're talking about and driving the show?
Good. The issue of retooling yourself as a family business is also one pillar. You must retool and develop. But we are saying, at times you may not need to waste resources on retooling on each and every skill. You may outsource. But the second pillar that I was going to talk about, which is also key as a transformative element, is the ability to retool the leaders, family business leaders, and other supportive family members in different skills. Retooling means developing, identifying the missing skills in the family, and then investing in family members. So yes, that's very correct. It's a key element in the current business setup. You don't rely on inborn skills, but you must incorporate an element of learning. You may not know it all as a family, so keep learning as a survival strategy.
Having talked about retooling, let's go on to digital transformation, because the world has gone digital and you cannot ignore it. What should family-run businesses do?
Yes, they should invest in digitalization. They should impart themselves with the current skills. They should acquire current ICT equipment, because the world is now about efficiency. The world is now about quality. So as a family business unit, you then need to up your operations through digitalization. So there's need for family business to invest in current ICT systems, current ICT equipment, so that they can become competitive.
Maybe you can give examples of those which do not make it when they remain behind, especially on digitalization.
E.g., your marketing can no longer be done. You have to embrace ICT so that you reach out to the rest of the world. A family business unit in Zimbabwe must sell its products in Canada. So all we are saying is they should have now a broader global perspective of doing business. We are a family business in Zimbabwe, but we must be selling our units, our items in Europe. And that can only be done through embracing ICT systems in the way that you market.
In a situation whereby we know when you're talking about the family, it can be very complex. You're talking about different units of the family. Probably the founder had different family sections and so forth. What is your advice in making sure that all these decisions that you're talking about are actually done in a united way?
Yes, so I said they should do the democratization of decision making and the issue of governance. It is now imperative that they make or create a family business unit council.
Yes, even that council, how it can succeed with all those different minds.
Yes, so it's about retooling. We go back to the retooling. They must be able to learn. When you go back to school as an original business owner, you are taken through governance. You are taken through decision-making procedures. You are taken through all the elements. When you go back now to your own business, you can then apply.
Okay, that's Dr. Josphat Nyoni, our guest today. We are talking about family-owned and family-run businesses. We're looking at how they can be improved, because historically we know quite a number that were very popular, that flourished in the past, but could not see the light of the day up to this century. And yet internationally, globally, we know of companies that were started in the 18-something, but they're still surviving. So join us in the third segment of Economic Forum with our guest, Josphat Nyoni, who is talking about family-run businesses. We are now in the third and final segment of Economic Forum, where today we are discussing family-run businesses, how they can prosper. We know quite a number of them worldwide and even locally, which have thrived. They are still in existence. How have they made it in order to be alive up to this day? And our guest here is Dr. Josphat Nyoni, who is an expert in that area, who has researched in those aspects of running a business. But at policy level, is there something that can be done, in order to support and grow this type of a business?
Thank you. Yeah, what we have talked about in terms of transformations, we were basically looking at what the current businesses must do, but they cannot survive on their own. So we need deliberate policies to identify family business units and provide support, especially in terms of capacity building. If we can identify 5 family business units in each province, and then identify their gaps in terms of technical expertise, management issues, marketing issues, investment issues, and deliberately take them through some training programs which may be offered at our polytechs, universities. We can have even programs which are directly focusing on making a family business successful. So that's at policy level. In addition to that, we may also assist in terms of marketing. When we have our trade forums, even within or outside, we take them along so that they are exposed to various international best practice. When they come back and implement those practices in their own family business units, we are assured of survival and resilience.
How should we see a family-run business in society?
Yes, another key element, which is at macro level, is that family business units must realize that they are not operating in isolation. They are part and parcel of the society. And customers want to be associated with a business unit that is giving back to society. So they should also embrace corporate social responsibility practices, giving back to society that are supporting them. That's a key ethical element that they also need to infuse.
And empowering people of different communities.
Yes,
including employment.
Yes. Not to focus on employing family members and relatives only, but to say we are operating in Lupani. We need to employ locals in Lupani. That way, the society will have a positive perception and they will be assured of support in terms of business units.
What has made those international companies that are family run, if they were known for timber, they're still in timber 100 years later, if they were known for detergents or they were known for soaps and so forth, they are still in that industry. They've not gone into other industries. What has made them successful?
It's building a brand.
Yes, talk about building a brand,
yes.
even in a family business.
Yes, so families must focus on building a brand. And there are so many operations that they should do. It's about quality, it's about efficiency, and it's about changing the mindset of your customer. So they should be prepared to invest in brand development. You can't be known in Harare only and hope to survive the current business competition. So part of their profits must be directed towards building a brand. When you create a strong brand, you are more resilient.
Proactiveness?
Yes, that's a key element. Because the business world is dynamic, things are changing at a faster rate. So family business units must invest in developing proactive skills, ability to see things in the next 5 years, ability to see the customer behavior in the next 10 years. When you have that skill, it means you adjust your operations according to your anticipated changes. Yes. So that flexibility, that forecasting, they should invest in. If they don't have it, they can outsource.
Yes. You mentioned another aspect earlier on where you said even our colleges like polytechnics and so forth can train members of family-run businesses. Let's talk about how family-run businesses can also benefit with our current education 5.0 in order to survive.
Yes, the current education model is actually is more entrepreneurial in nature. It is focusing on creating innovation, creativity, flexibility, ability to focus and diversify. So if we have programs that are tailor-made for family businesses and they are developed around the education 5.0, it means we are able to impart the right skills to our family business units. If they go through the current education model, they are going to be creative, they are going to be innovative, entrepreneurial, and those are the key skills that are required now. So there is a lot that they can, but we need to make a deliberate policy that each university must have a diploma on family business, which can be a short course, a whole diploma, a certificate, and even a whole degree.
Or even a certificate of attendance.
Yes.
Just to give some skills and also learn about best practices around the world.
Yes, sure. Yeah, sure.
Gender balance in family-run businesses. Do we see also even the girl child in the family taking a leading role?
All we are saying is there is need for a gender-oriented mindset in terms of business units. We need to tap in a lot of skills that are in our females. They have a lot of skills. They can support, they are committed, they are loyal. So there is need to deliberately shift the leadership model in family business so that they are given a chance to lead. So it means it's another transformation where traditionally family business units cannot be run by a female. So we need to change the mindset. They should realize that within the family, we have a girl child who can eventually be the director of the family business unit.
As Dr. Josphat Nyoni was our guest today, we're talking about family-run businesses, an interesting topic where we're looking at those that have succeeded the world over and in Zimbabwe, and also evaluating those we knew of many decades ago, but which are just part of history, and what could have happened to them, and what models and transformation can be considered today in order for those businesses that are run in the family to succeed. So if you would like to get in touch with us, you can do so on the numbers that are showing on your screen. If you would like to engage with us, you can also do so on the social media platforms that are flashing on your screen. If you have missed some of the episodes of Economic Forum, you can actually watch them on our YouTube channel, which is Economic Forum Zimbabwe. So on behalf of our guest, who is Dr. Josphat Nyoni, who has been talking about family-run businesses and the production crew, this is John Masuku wishing you happy viewing.